in the bright red, or is that crimson red or scarlet red of the Hiroshima Toyo Kart baseball team. They play in the Nippon Professional Baseball League, which is the highest level of ball you can play in the Long Island of Japan, which is a pretty big deal, as any baseball fan knows, North American baseball fan knows. Japanese nationals haven't played Major League Baseball for quite some time now. They take their ball pretty seriously in the land of the rising sun. In Hiroshima, meanwhile, they take their cars pretty seriously. This vehicle I'm driving now, the Mazda CX-30 subcompact compact crossover, well, somewhere in that ballpark, as it were, crossover anyway, is from Hiroshima. And as a matter of fact, Mazda owns the Hiroshima Carp, and they play in the, you guessed it, Zoom Zoom Stadium. So that's kind of a cool connection there. And so this is the latest Mazda crossover. And if it's the latest Mazda crossover, why isn't it called the CX-4? There's already the CX-3 and the CX-5 and the CX-9. Well, you see, there already is a CX-4. It's for the Chinese market only, and it's based on the previous gen CX-5, and it's kind of one of those four-door coupes we see, the X4 BMW, for example, or the Mercedes GLC coupe. So Mazda didn't want North American shoppers looking for the latest Mazda crossover and thinking they were going to get the CX-4. So it's the CX-30, which does slot between the CX-3 and the CX-5. It's closer in size to the CX-5, actually, which answers another question I had, and that's, how would the CX-3 and the CX-30 coexist? If you remember, when the CX-5 came out, Mazda already had the CX-7, but it was the CX-5 that was being touted as the new big thing for Mazda, their best-selling vehicle, and so on and so forth. And kind of saw that the CX-7's days were numbered, and sure enough, a couple of years later, it was gone. But I spoke with Mazda about this, and they don't expect the same fate for the CX-3. That's a much smaller vehicle. It's based on the Mazda 2 subcompact hatch or sedan platform, and it's kind of for young couples who want the smallest vehicle possible but want maybe a little something extra, like all-wheel drive, for example, whereas the CX-30 is more fit for young families of three, and I go more into that aspect of it in the next couple of clips here. So it kind of slides nicely in between the CX-3 and the CX-5. It shares a platform with the Mazda 3, which makes it the second vehicle to get Mazda's latest chassis architecture, and it's roughly the same in size as the Mazda 3 hatches. Same footprint, pretty much the same interior space, a little more cargo room in the CX-30 because it's got a higher roof. Pretty much the same power too, so it's really kind of a tit-for-tat thing there. Speaking of power, there's two engine options. There's a 2-liter 4-cylinder good for 150 horsepower and 155 pound-feet of torque. That's on the base model, which comes as front-wheel drive only. And there's also the GT model and the GX and the GS, actually. This is the GT, and what I have here is 2.5-liter 4-cylinder good for 186 horsepower and 186 pound-feet of torque, which is the same as you get for the larger CX-5 if you're not talking about the turbocharged or the turbo diesel version of that vehicle. So you can imagine the CX-30 being a smaller car but the same power as a bigger vehicle. It's pretty zippy. And you'd be right. I've got it in sport mode here, which sharpens the throttle response and lets you hold on to gears for longer, and it is a zippy, quick little car. Power response is quick. It's fed to all four wheels, well, mainly the fronts. The rears getting on the action, the fronts are slipping, through a 6-speed automatic transmission, which Mazda sticks steadfastly by, even though some of its competition, the Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross or the Subaru Crosstrek or the Nissan Qashqai, are going to trick multi-ratio or CVT transmissions. Mazda's got the 6-speed auto here. They have it in pretty much every vehicle in their lineup, and they say, and I've talked about this too, that since we're not talking about turbocharged engines here, it tend to be a little bit peaky and have a narrower power band, which necessitates having more gears to kind of find that narrow power band. The naturally aspirated 4s and the Mazdas don't really need that as much. You don't need the gears sniffing around all the time, and it's got longer, each ratio's got longer legs. So you get quick acceleration, but also from stop, but also smooth progress once you're going as well. It's not all perfect though. Getting going from stop I found to be smoothly. From stop is a little bit tough. I find the throttle response too much even when you're not in sport mode, as if the transmission and the throttle aren't quite in sync. And when you're at speed and even in, again, not in sport mode, gears tend to be held on for a little bit too long, especially when climbing hills, which makes for some noisy progress. But other than that, though, the driving on-road dynamics are great. The ride is really, really good, even though it basically is a Mazda 3 on stilts. It doesn't have that much more body roll than the 3 does. They've done the suspension tuning and chassis tuning well to make sure to keep the body in check. And the steering, as has been expected for Mazdas these days, is right on point. This is a company that makes the MX-5, after all, which is one of the best steering vehicles on the market, to be honest. And it's really great. Quick response, a little bit of dead zone off center, so when you're on the straight and now or on the highway, you're not constantly adjusting to keep it going, kind of tracking true. But very responsive left to right transitions, and even a little bit of feel through the wheel, which can't always be said for electronically assisted systems like this, but this hasn't. So really, really good there. But as we get back into town again, another issue comes up, and that's the brakes actually. While it can be tough to get going from stop smoothly, I found it hard to stop smoothly as well. The pedal travel on the brakes is not great, so it's tough to judge when you're going to get to half or full brake force, because there isn't a lot of play there. So, which is too bad, because the rest of this package is really, really good, and I'm used to Mazda, all with regards to the way they drive, being almost perfect in every regard. But that brake pedal is a little bit wooden feeling, so a little more travel there would probably go a long way. But this is a really interesting vehicle, and while we talk about the CX-3 and the CX-30 earlier, I'm starting to wonder more about how the Mazda 3 hatch and the CX-30 are going to coexist. Them being similar size and similar powered and all, and we being in North America, and we love our crossovers, even if the crossover we're talking about is only a little bit bigger than the hatchback with which it shares a platform. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how these two vehicles coexist as we go on down the road here. That's enough for now. Please look for the full review on wheels.ca soon. You're already watching me. If you're watching me on YouTube, thank you very much. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. If not, no hard feelings. You can also follow me on Twitter at Dan the Wheelman, and on Instagram at Dan the Wheelman as well. So thanks for watching this video, and please tune in next week when I'll be testing the Toyota Tacoma pickup as well, which I'm looking forward to. So hopefully we'll see you then. So, as is often the case with Mazda, great driver seat position here. I love the steering wheel is nice, close at hand. Of course, it tilts and telescopes manually, which is nice. Very comfortable seat, easy to get in and out of. Lots of headroom even with this sunroof here. The higher roof the CX-30 gets over the Mazda 3 can be thanked for that. All the controls are easily at hand. Even the ones on the side here, which I'll show you in the next clip to give you a better view of the dash, are just kind of smartly placed. Shift levers right here, which is great. Shift paddles, hi-fi control here, plus your climate controls. Sorry, your climate controls here. Your hi-fi is actually down here, which I also love. I love being able to just reach down with the lever and adjust my volume. I think that's fantastic. I guess I'm not a huge fan of this kind of dual process opening center bin here. You can't just lift it up, you gotta slide it back and lift it. Less than intuitive, I would say. I mean, I guess it's nice to be able to access some things without having to open it all the way, but it's kind of cramped in here, so you'd have a hard time getting your hand in there. However, there's no wireless charging as installed at base on the CX-30 at any trim level, but it is a dealer installed option, and that wireless charge pad goes right in here, and your mobile device too, so it can all be contained there, which makes sense to me. Up here, cup holders, which are great for most drinks. You can see here, wonderful Coke Orange Vanilla, very good Coke Zero. That fits no problem. Some taller items, like taller water bottles, for example, might be a bit of a challenge because there is not a huge amount of room here, but this is no problem. If you're not using them, you just close it up. You get the nice piano black lid on there, plus another bin back here where you can put your mobile device if you're not using wireless charging, because there is a USB port here as well for your Android Auto or Apple CarPlay needs. So they've done a great job with the front seat here. The fact that I've had to move the seat back, that's going to affect the back seat a little bit for sure, but otherwise, for drivers, this right here is round the money. So a quick look at the dash of the CX-30. Really nicely laid out, modern looking, everything's easily accessible. Steering wheel here nicely falls to my hands. The climate controls right here, which is great. The hi-fi system down here, which I love because I can be driving and just adjust and not have to worry about looking for any knobs. Infotainment control wheel is here too. All kind of stuff where you thought it would be. This controls the new Mazda infotainment system, which is kind of part of their new generation of vehicles, of which the CX-30 is part of, along with the new Mazda 3 as well. So the hi-fi system is wonderful. It connects you to this great Bose audio system, which is, I believe, 12 speakers, which is awesome. And the other thing I was discussing were these buttons up here. Now, the ones that are down here hidden by my left knee, the seat memory buttons, as well as the rear tailgate lift button, those are tough to see when driving, but who cares? You don't need to access those while you're driving. The ones you want to be able to access while you're driving, however, are up here, like your vehicle driver assist systems, for example. That's all accessed via a button that's pressed here. So that's one thing you do want to access while driving, and it's nicely viewable even when pointed straight ahead. So I love that about it. Otherwise, everything nicely laid out here, and everything very classy too. It might not be super exciting to look at. There is a partially digitized gauge cluster, for example, and stuff, but it's a lot of straight edges, a lot of kind of basic shapes, but it's very high class, and that's important because Mazda doesn't have a luxury arm like so many of its competitors do, so its top trims of its models, no matter which segment we're talking about here, because there's a luxury version of pretty much every segment out there now, kind of needs to try to take some sales away from the other guys' luxury line. So they've got this nice brown leather, really cool how it wraps around to the doors on both sides here, black soft touch materials, some chrome touches, really classy interior. Yeah, right. So as I clamber not so elegantly or easily back here, must be said, you can really see the CX-30's Mazda 3 dinks. My knees are right up against the front seat back here, even though they give you these nice cutouts, kind of help you get by. And my headroom, well, I guess you could say what headroom, really. That means that this wonderful Hiroshima carp hat, that's got to go, because even if you're an average-sized adult, you're not going to want to wear a hat back here. Of course, this seat is set for a tall driver like myself, so you want to keep that in mind, but it is snug. That being said, very nice flush-mounted child seat anchors here, so it's easy to get the seat in there. Getting the child in once the seat's in is a bit tough. I tried my 2.5-year-old daughter. It was tough. Not her fault. She's very well behaved, but the door openings here are a little bit small for that. But this nice wide armrest here that has flush-mounted cup holders opens nicely, and even when the child seat's in there, it can still open, so that's great. And then he said, how many people who are buying a crossover, a subcompact or compact crossover, are going to be planning on hauling for adults on the regular? Probably not that many, but what they will want to haul, though, is their longer wears. And unfortunately, as I try and clamber back out here, there we go, the snug confines of the CX-30 can make that a little bit tough as well. As you can see, this seat will not fold all the way with the headrest installed, even though it's on its lowest setting, so you're kind of left with two options. One, headrest comes out, seat folds nice and flat. You got to find something to do with this now. I'll put this in the footwell for now. Or number two is you can move the seat, the front seat back forward a little bit, and then this until it can clear it even with the headrest installed. And since it's got a one-touch memory seat, it's easy to return it to its original form. Once it's folded, though, it is nice and flat, almost fully flat, and you can haul your longer wears. But these are just the kind of things you have to deal with when you're considering the CX-30.